Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, good morning.
Good morning. So let us continue our study of Srimad Bhagavatam.
Hare Krishna.
So now we are studying Parikshit's questions. And Shukadeva Goswami gives an analogy here. Shukadeva gave an analogy. A child might cry because he wants to grasp the moon. To satisfy the child, a loving parent gives him a mirror in which the moon is reflected. Thinking he now has the moon, the child becomes pacified. Similarly, the childish souls cry because they want to be independent enjoyers. The childish souls cry because they want to be independent enjoyers and controllers like the Supreme Lord. To pacify them, Krishna kindly puts them in his reflected reality, the material world. When the living being becomes frustrated trying to enjoy this illusion, he performs penance to merge with the Lord, who sanctions this also. Nevertheless, in both instances, the living being is in a dreaming state. These delusions continue until the soul wakes up to the reality that he is the subordinate part and parcel of Krishna. In his pure consciousness, the living entity serves the Lord in transcendental love. Many of the assembled sages murmured appreciatively on hearing Sukadeva's explanation. Some, however, remained doubtful. Since all living beings are originally equally situated as the Lord's eternal servants, why do they attain so many different types of bodies when they enter the material universe? Some enjoying heavenly pleasures and others suffering hellish pains. Sensing their confusion, Shukadeva explained that the living beings can associate with any of the three modes of nature. According to their choices, they receive different types of bodies. As long as the living being thinks in terms of I and mine, he's forced to continually accept the material bodies. So we are forced, actually, let's pause here. We are forced to continually accept different bodies until we learn our lessons. simply put. As soon as we think my will, as soon as we think self-will, as soon as we put ourselves in the center instead of putting Krishna in the center, then we have to keep coming back. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani, jatare shayanam, punarapi janani, jatare shayanam, iha samsare बहुदोस्तारे इह संसारे बहुदोस्तारे कृपया भारे पाहि मुरारे कृपया भारे पाहि मुरारे. This is the Bhaja Govindam song. It says again and again, because of this I and mine, You keep coming back. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. Keep taking birth again, keep dying again. Taking birth again, dying again. And again enter the womb of the mother. Jatare shayanam. Go and sleep in the womb of the mother again. And in this way, we keep going up and down this samsara cycle. And this cycle is not a very pleasant ride. It's very full of miseries. See, that is that's the reality of this samsara as this reflected reality. The sage said that these two misconceptions of life, I and mine, manifest in two classes of people. Materialistic people think in terms of mine. This is my house, my family, my wealth. The speculative philosophers think in terms of I, as in I am the supreme. Okay, let's pause here. This is a very important differentiation. Sometimes we also go from that, I am, whatever it is, I am entitled to be treated better, or I am better than this other person. So this is mine is a very tamasic level. It's like tamas means objects, things that we own. I have this, therefore this is mine. And then there is the I am, and therefore it's like being aspect. I am is a sattvic level, but we can put that I am supreme or I am great, then it becomes passion. So I am is more in the mode of passion, and I am and I have, or this is mine, is in the mode of tamas, to say I have these things, I own these things, this is mine. So this binds us to this world because it's jada jagattu, it's called actually. So jada means those tangible things. You can also say like non-living things or unmoving things. So those jada things keep us in this jada jagat. It keeps us in this material world. So we keep coming back again and again. Looking pointedly at the sages who held this misconception, Shukadeva explained that it is more dangerous than the fallacy of the gross materialists. He admonished them not to misunderstand the Vedic teachings, such as Tattvam Asi, to mean we are identical with the Supreme in every respect. Although we share the Lord's nature, we remain subordinate to him and are constitutionally meant to serve him with love. As soon as we are situated in our own glorious position as Krishna's eternal loving servants, we begin to enjoy transcendental happiness. Yeah, this is so true. I mean, pausing here. This is so true because when we identify ourselves, identity is clear. Then our homework is given. Before we actually know our identity, we cannot be given with tasks. We cannot enjoy life unless and until we are clear about our eternal identity. So without identity, we cannot do things, and without doing things, we cannot have that sense of happiness or peace. So happiness can be seen in the three modes as well. One thing is like having happiness, something when it becomes yours and say, oh, I have a house and therefore I'm happy. And then there is a doing aspect of I'm doing this, and I'm feeling happy. And then there is an aspect of when the happiness becomes ours on the sattva level is like, I am happy. Nothing I do or nothing I have can affect my happiness. So by doing the transcendental activities, it gives us that. How beautiful, right? In the same Bhajagovindam song that I quoted, this aspect again comes up, that Bhajagovindam, Bhajagovindam, Bhajagovindam Modamate. So don't be in the Jada Jagat, don't be stuck to the Jada aspect. So come to this transcendental happiness, come, enjoy. This is Krishna consciousness. Krishna doesn't want us to suffer. Krishna is not a God who wants us to suffer. He wants us to find that happiness and be happy. Not just run after doing things that make us happy, not just run after things that, me and mine. This is my thing, which is giving me happiness because I have it. That's Jada. This is, I am a scholar, I am a very intellectual person. That's passion. And then we have to keep going after that to feel it. But to be a devotee of the Lord is based on identity. It's based on the mood of service. It's the attitude. I am Krishna's, and that's it. We don't need to do or have anything. We are happy. So I really like this explanation here. At that point, we are never again influenced by the material energy, nor by time, nor do we again fall prey to the misconceptions of I and mine. See, we do not depend on doing and having in order to feeling. So when we come to the transcendental platform of identity, very strongly established, I'm servant of Krishna, I'm a precious child of Krishna. Before I'm a wife, before I'm a parent, before I'm a teacher, or before you're a professional, before anything you're a child of God. You're a precious child of God. And therefore, nothing, no relationship, no things, no body can agitate or affect that identity. And therefore, when the identity is not affected, what we do and what we have also remains steady and progressive. And then we eventually give up this misconception of I and mine. Shukadeva spoke with such compassion and authority that even the stalwart speculators were impressed and bowed their heads in submission. The wise Parikshit, however, knew that once Shukadeva had left, there was every possibility that unanswered doubts would again surface. He therefore continued to pose questions on behalf of the adherents of the non-devotional doctrines. Doubts, pausing here, doubts will come again and again until we properly fix our sense of identity. Because Parikshit Maharaj is fixed in his identity. He knows I'm a servant of Krishna. He saw Krishna in his womb. He saw Krishna coming there at the size of like a thumb, protecting him from the Brahmastra, which Ashwatthama brutally left. So Parikshit's identity is so fixed, and therefore he's not confused. He's not like bewildered. But many of these sages, their identity is not fixed. See how fortunate we are when we are born in families which give us good culture, which give us Krishna consciousness, which gives us our identity as your servant of God. In India, it's much easier, Indian people are much more humble. Maybe also because we have had sages and saints, and we do have people who are fixed in position of, if they take sannyas, they remain sannyas, etc. Like I have a lot of Russian students now, and for them it's very difficult to be submissive and accept authority. It's very, very difficult for them. They do not like to do what others tell them to do. It's very difficult somehow. And then I was actually looking at the reasons, because in Russian part of the world, etc., in the history, they don't have history like us. They don't have the rishis and the munis who had control of the senses, and they were all together. They didn't have kings like Parikshit. They had opposite. So they cannot put their trust and faith in humans. And for them, therefore, it's very difficult. Authority, to dedicate life to Guru, to see Guru as equal as Krishna, and all these kind of concepts are super, super difficult. For us, it comes naturally. And Shukadeva Goswami here, he's speaking with such compassion and authority. And I'm feeling very fortunate, actually, because I'm associating with, I'm trying to give association. I hope I won't end up taking association of the Russian people with their history and culture, but there are very, very serious devotees. But it's just that the cultural conditioning stops them from embracing these concepts of authority and seeing Shastra as eternal, and it's very difficult. So we are very fortunate, just like Parikshit, who saw Krishna in the womb. We have seen Krishna in our life, and we have seen God as gods and demigods being taken as priority, authority. So we are blessed in that regard of humility. Our challenge, however, is that other extreme. I'm making this analysis and research. Our challenge as Indian people is that we depend on humans too much. We put too much faith in mentors or shiksha gurus or diksha gurus or husbands. We think that they will save us, they will rescue us, they will be there for us every minute, every second, whatever. We have too much dependence. That's our problem as Indian genes, you can call it. Their problem is too much independence. And our problem is we are too identified with image aspect. I mean, in Parikshit Maharaj's case, it's subtly manifesting, but it's manifesting in a very sattva-guna way. See, he's sitting there, right? If it was an American guy sitting there or a Russian king or something sitting there, he would just think, well, I don't care. My identity is fixed. I know what I want. I'm the one dying in few days. These rishis and munis, if they have doubt, let them ask for themselves. This is typically the Western mentality. The Indian culture, the Vedic culture, is to be considerate, and to be considerate in a manner which benefits the world, benefits the society. So traditionally, if you look at Mahabharata, all these kids that were born, all weird births, right? through Niyoga, okay, Vichitravirya dies, Shantanu and Satyavati's son dies, Vichitravirya, who is the only heir to the throne, and then you don't know what to do, and Satyavati calls Vyasadeva, who was her son from Parashurama, another relationship before her marriage, but then she remained intact even though she had Vyasadeva, and it means she remained virgin and she didn't lose her virginity, and she immediately gave birth there. It was not like a normal pregnancy and conception like normal human. It was very mystical, of course. Parashara, sorry, what did I say? Parashurama, sorry, not Parashurama, Parashara gave birth to Vyasadeva. Parashara was the father of Vyasadeva. So all these kind of births, right? Like, okay, and then Vyasadeva comes, and then he is requested to impregnate Ambika and Ambalika, because they are like childless and the husband already died, and they have a duty and responsibility towards the kingdom. They're supposed to populate the kingdom. They're supposed to have a higher throne to the throne. So then they accept this very gruesome custom of getting pregnant by some rishi, some sage, and they all get freaked out and they get all numbed out, and they all become closed eyes and become all whitish. And then, of course, then closed eyes, Dhritarashtra is born blind, and then Pandu is born pale. All these stories happen, right? And then, but we need to understand the motivation behind that, the bhava behind that was mission or dharma, in order to protect the kingdom, in order to protect the righteousness, the dharma thing. Western people, the Western culture, I mean, if at all there's some sort of culture we can call it, Western culture is be selfish, me and mine, be lost in what is comfortable for me. I dress like I want, I eat like I want, I'll do what I want, I'll change husbands like I want, I'll change wives like I want. I don't care about anything or anybody. I don't have any sense of dharma. I don't have any sense of duty. I'll do whatever I want, and I want to get what I want. So everything is so much on the passion and ignorance level that in order to perform dharma, we need sattva guna. And not only the sattva guna in action, we need sattva guna in intention and motivation. So unless and until we have that, we are in two extremes. The Western extreme of thinking, me and mine, I like to do what I like, I don't like what I don't like, and hell with everybody else and everything else. And then there is the other extreme, like a codependent Indian person who's too worried about everything and everybody. Oh, I can't say no because the society will think this way. Oh, I have to keep going to these classes although I don't like it because the people will mistake me. So many conditionings, right? But then the middle ground is where Parikshit is, where Kunti Devi was. Kunti Devi was in a similar situation like Ambika Ambalika's type. Although Pandu didn't die, he was cursed. I mean, few days after marriage, first the co-wife shows up, and then the husband gets cursed and they can never have sex again, can never have children. So Kunti Devi was such in a predicament. But then, fortunately, due to her austerities, she actually had a boon. She had gained this amazing boon. She could call upon any demigod and put ourselves in the situation which demigod will we call upon? What will be our desire? So she called upon Dharmaraj, the god of justice. Again, she didn't do it for her own pleasure. Oh, you know what? I like to figure out how handsome Indra is, and I want to have sexual relations with Indra, and then I want to have a child. That was not the intention. The intention was dharma. How do I do my duty towards my kingdom? So this dharma thing is deeply ingrained in us. I mean, I'm not saying every Indian, by the way. Huh? We are all different. We all have different levels of dignity and grace and different levels of devotion and dharmic mentality. But it is amazing. I'm feeling extremely grateful that we have this DNA. We are all, we are all born from rishis and sages. We all have these gotras, right, of different rishis. So we have this DNA from the sages, especially those of us born maybe in some upper caste or something like that. We had some of those DNA coming from these saints and sages. So we still have that prioritizing dharma over our comfort. This is Indian culture. This is Vedic culture. And actually, I feel so fortunate. Okay, so Parikshit here is posing questions. Somebody likes to continue from here. Oh, learned one, we stop there. Rasastali or Rajeshri, would you like to continue reading? Thank you.
Okay, I will.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Hare Krishna. Shall I continue to read?
Rasastali, I think Rasastali Mataji wanted to read.
Okay, okay.
Let her continue, Rakshi, Mataji.
Okay, Rajshri, you can read.
No, if she wants to continue, she can, Mataji.
No, you
Let
can.
her read, then I will. Please.
You can. I'll read later. O learned one, you have previously explained that the Lord enters the material cosmos and assumes the gigantic form of Garbhodakshai Vishnu, from whose abdomen a lotus appears. The Lord's body is so large it can accommodate all the planets of the universe. Is size the only difference between the Lord's body and those of other living beings? Shukadeva replied, the Lord has an eternal transcendental form, which he revealed to Brahma, being pleased with his devout penance. He then explained the truth about himself in response to Brahma's questions. Listen as I relate that incident. The Lord instructs Brahma to answer Parikshit's question about the difference between Vishnu's Virat Rup form and the living being's material bodies. Shukadeva recounts a conversation between Brahma and Lord Narayana at the dawn of creation. This chapter includes the Srimad Bhagavatam's 4 seed verses, 33 to 36.
Hmm.
Brahma sat on his lotus flower seat surrounded by darkness. He peered into the gloom, but saw no one. All he could see was the stem of the great lotus upon which he sat. Climbing down that stalk, he reached a turbulent, shoreless ocean, but he was unable to fathom the source of the lotus. Disappointed, he again ascended to the top of the cosmic flower, where he sat confused and frustrated.
Let's pause here. Wow, this is like our head of our sampradaya, okay, Brahma. And if he had dilemmas and confusion and uncertainty about his sense of identity. Who was he? What was he supposed to do? What to speak of us, right? At the dawn of Narayana, at the dawn of creation, is Brahma trying to figure out who he is, figure out what is his purpose. And so this is a important meditation whenever you feel lost. Whenever you feel like, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know what's happening, remember Brahma in the navel. He's right there. Krishna is lying down, but he's trying to figure out, what is this lotus? And he's going up and down the lotus, like humbling, it's so humbling. It's such a humbling position to be in a status of our life where we do not know where we are going. We do not know the direction. We do not know exactly where we belong, to who we belong to, and being in that state of frustration and confusion. And Brahma was experiencing that. And as I said, we are very fortunate because we have a pure devotee for Brahma. But this is existence. I have been realizing how from childhood, I'm going to be 40 this next week, and I'm thinking how for 40 years I kept looking for, like Parikshit was looking for that Krishna in everybody. I kept looking for that person who was pure and super fixed. I had my grandfather who was a perfect devotee, so sweet, humble personification of all the good qualities. And I lost him when I was 10, 11 years old. And then since then, I've always been looking for a person like him, not into conflict, not political, very dedicated, very sincere, very humble, very like all those qualities he had. I kept looking for somebody like that. But those kind of people don't exist sometimes in this material world. Even our mentors and teachers and great friends, and they also have their limitations. Nobody is without imperfections. And in fact, even my grandfather had so many materialist problems obstructing him. I was too young to understand those responsibilities and all, but I just saw his qualities and how he was dealing with problems. And sometimes we get disappointed with people. We get confused. Who am I supposed to put my faith and trust on? And we keep waiting for that perfect man to rescue us. Usually it's for us like that, whoever. I mean, man doesn't necessarily have to be romantic. Sometimes it could be that mentor man or guru man that we want that to be saved. And we kind of live in that state of limbo. Like again, I said, it's like it's there even for Westerners, but it's more in the mode of enjoying mentality. It's more about, I want to enjoy with this person. And the Indian DNA mentality is more like, I want to be protected by this person. I want to be sheltered by this person. But the point is the same. We want to remove confusion. We want to be smooth in our transition of figuring out who we are. Okay, so we can continue. Where had he come from?
Where he had come from. He sensed he was meant to create, but did not know how. It was then that he heard a resounding voice twice pronounce two syllables. Tapa, tapa. Brahma looked around in surprise. Who could have uttered those words? There was no one and nothing in existence but him and the lotus upon which he sat. It could not therefore have been a material sound. It must have been a transcendental vibration. Surely it was the Lord who had spoken to him. Brahma's forehead turned from side to side and up and down, straining to see the Lord. Surely he must be nearby. Again Brahma scrambled down the lotus stem, hoping to find him, and again he was disappointed. Exhausted by his search, he sat down and considered the matter. Tapa meant penance. The Lord had clearly ordered him to perform austerity.
Wow. Yeah, you see, we see in many examples of Srimad Bhagavatam. When I was a kid, I used to think also, hearing all these stories, I thought, Seems like all the good people, all the people who do austerities, they get good husbands. I mean, talking about women characters. Oh, this one did the tapasya, this one prayed. And even about the men, they were all like doing austerities and then suddenly they got married, but they got a good wife. So I would often think like, oh, in order to get good husband, I should do tapasya, you know. So like that, we are given with that culture of tapasya, whereas the Western culture is more about dress up. I mean, I'm bringing this up because it's very relevant. For me, I'm seeing very much the difference. The Western mentality is more dress up your body, show off your body, go out there, be out there, attract the man to in order to be in a relationship. That's the Western mentality. Show off your attributes so that a man will be attracted and somebody will take you. And the Eastern mentality, the Vedic mentality, is more about you want a good husband, do tapasya, do some puja. Usually traditionally Indian women, they worship Shiva, asking Shiva to give good husband, right? So they do austerities, they do fasting on Mondays, they walk kilometers to go to the temple. By the way, today is Monday. um uh, yeah, even when I was young, I also did Mahadev puja. I was still a teenager, but I was very, very determined that I wanted a devotee husband. I didn't want some loser guy, I didn't want some. I was so scared my parents will get me married to some stupid idiot, some guy who is like aimless in life and is going to be like whatever, addicted to work and addicted to food and addicted to who knows alcohol, getting worse, who knows what sort of addictions guys can have, right? And I was really scared. I was so scared because my mom and dad, they wanted to put my profile in the marriage matrimonial board something, and I was super scared. And so I started doing austerities. I started making garlands for deities every day. Early morning I would wake up and go and collect flowers, steal flowers from neighbors' houses, also take flowers and make garlands for the deities. And then I would fast and I would go and do all these pujas and everything, because I really wanted a spiritual husband. I wanted somebody who was not a loser guy. So tapa. The way we get clarity is not by intellectual understanding. Sometimes it's about showing to Krishna that I love you. And in bhakti, it's very easy to do austerities. We wake up in the morning, we study Srimad Bhagavatam, we do the japa, we do chanting, we do arti. Like I started doing this Mangalarti program at my house, and Russian devotees come. It's a little bit of an austerity, but it gives me so much strength. I mean, it's exhausting in one sense all day, not even 1 minute. But at the end of the day, it's like really peaceful sleep because we've done the part of austerity that this body is supposed to do. So my realization is this. We will end here for today. My realization is, don't focus on how your body looks. Don't focus on when you're going to get relationships or what's going to happen with your relationships, and don't focus on those things. Focus on what you're engaging your body on. How are you engaging your body today in Krishna's service? That is more important than how we look or what relationship status we are in. That is very Western concept to get lost in those. The Vedic concept is, again, look at a situation as a tapasya. Are we in a difficult relationship situation? Tapasya. Have we been abandoned or betrayed or abused? Tapasya. So let us see Krishna consciousness in this situation and give priority to Krishna's plan. Any questions or any comments?
Mataji, I wanted to ask, like, if we are disturbed or can we do bhakti in this mode if we are happy? Our focus
We should not wait. We should not wait for the perfect scenario to surrender to God and let Krishna's. You need to because there is no perfect scenario in this world. Once I get married, then I'll be sincere. Once I get divorced, I'll be sincere. Once I have a child, I'll be sincere. Once my child grows up, I'll be sincere. The time will never come. The time will never come. So we do not wait to perform bhakti. We don't wait for anything, any condition, any situation, whether it be physical difficulties, emotional difficulties, mental difficulties. We shouldn't wait, because through those difficulties, we can touch Krishna. We can connect to Krishna. Bhakti doesn't wait for anything. That helpful, Rajshri? Rajshri, are you there? Okay. Okay, Vaishnavis, thank you so much for this Sangha. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. We will continue tomorrow reading this beautiful section of Srimad Bhagavatam where Brahmaji is doing his austerities.